Welcome back to the Gingium YouTube channel. Is it just me, or is this a drift truck with body panels on it? And is it just me, or is this a drift truck with a full interior? I mean, carpet? That's nice. And that's what we're doing in this video. Guys, this is your last chance to get the Drift Truck I Helped Build This t-shirt for free. If you become a Patreon member for 3 months, you get that shirt completely free and a sticker. All the details are over on Patreon if you want to check it out. It's a huge support for the channel, so thank you to anyone who does that. Now, in the last video with the Drift Truck, we wired it up completely from scratch, made a whole new chassis wiring harness. It already had the engine wiring harness, we remade the chassis wiring harness. So we added a PDM from Link with a cool keypad that controls the fuel pump, water pump, radiator fans, intercooler pump, blinkers, headlights, heater, windshield wipers, horn, a lot of other stuff. Well, now we have a completely done vehicle that's completely not done. It's a chassis, it runs and drives, it's got all the wiring, but it's just empty. No really interior, no exterior. So we're gonna finish it today. We're going to finish the interior. We've got a new carpet, seats. We've got a bunch of awesome fabrication, customization for the dash. We've got a heater to put in it. We gotta put all the body panels back on, the front fender flares, the bed, a new tailgate. And then at the end of all of that, we are going to drive the truck again. But I'm not talking like just on the back road right behind the shop. I'm gonna drive it home, I'm gonna daily it, we're gonna take it on the highway, we're gonna do some pulls on it, some drifts in it, and then we'll have a finished drift truck. At least a finished drift truck without a nice looking paint job and stuff. So not really a finished drift truck. But anyway, let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is work on the dash, because right now it's a piece of plastic with a bunch of holes in it, and we need to be able to mount the radio, the PDM, all the buttons, etc. So getting this dash all finished up, we have to make 3 plates. One over here for the engine start stop button, one in the center for the radio and the CAN keypad, and then 2 USB chargers, and then just one on the right to block this off. So I'm gonna start on the left side and kind of work our way to the right. Let's do it. Gonna make these out of metal with handy dandy plasma cutter. So we have this left one made, more or less. I welded studs on the back, so pretty much how it'll work is we'll bolt that in now, and then we put the dash in all finished. I think that looks awesome. I even kept a little cubby for the stock plastic just to make it look a little bit more complete. Now before we move on to the other ones, I want to try powder coating this. Now, you guys might remember that I got an Eastwood powder coating setup, and then UPS destroyed the oven. This one doesn't sound destroyed. So huge thank you to Eastwood for sending me out another oven. Ah, yes, there's not shattered glass everywhere. Very nice. So obviously this is not the biggest oven. I'm not gonna be powder coating any, roll bars or stuff like that in this bad boy, but perfect for things like this. First thing I'm gonna do is set this thing to preheat. It says 400 for 20 minutes. Right there. I propped the part. Then I read the instructions, and now I attempt to set this thing up. So the way a powder coater works is you have your spray gun, you put powder in it, hence the name powder. I've got this textured black powder, and then you put an electrical charge through it. So pretty much the way it works is it statically charges the powder. That will stick to the material, you put it in the oven, and it turns into a nice cured hard coating. It won't work if you can't ground it and have the electrical current run through it, and it won't work if you don't cure it. So this is our little hub thing, ground strap to one of the bolts. Guess now I have to fill it up with powder. Exciting. It's like a very fine sand. Air supply at 8 PSI. Nice. And then I'm just gonna go for it. it that easy? I don't know if I put enough or not. Let's find out. Okay, now we wait. So in a few minutes, it should gloss over, and then after that, you set a 20-minute timer, and then that's kind of it. So we're not gonna take it fully out, but we're gonna open it and just do this and let it cool off. Hey, yo, I'll tell you what, it definitely worked. It's not quite as thick as I was imagining. Like, I can see the imperfections in the metal and stuff, which is a little unfortunate, but maybe I could do another layer. I mean, I'm very impressed with that. And the thing that's awesome about powder coating is that after it cures, it's ready to go. Like, I could use this right away. It's not focusing, but you can see some stuff in it. So I'm gonna try a second coat and see what happens. Unfortunately, doing the second layer was a mistake. As you can see, it kind of coagulated in these spots and the finish was not. It got worse. Thankfully, I figured it out. On the next parts, I prepped them a little bit better and the finish was perfect. And yet again, I gotta give a huge thanks to Eastwood for sending out this powder coating setup. If you're interested, you can use my coupon code to get 10% off any Eastwood product. So that's freaking awesome. I'll have a link in the description and up in the cards. Close, but no cigar. I gotta move all this over like 5 millimeters and then extend it a bit on each corner. Good enough. Okay, I'm trying this a little differently this time. Doing it on a flat surface, so we get a little bit more powder coat on there, so it's a little bit thicker, should texture more, shouldn't show as many as the imperfections on the metal. All right, so the dash is pretty much ready to go back in. Before we do that, we're going to finish the interior in terms of carpet. The truck used to have a nasty old gray carpet that was destroyed because the previous owner smoked, and also it had just been modified a bunch to fit. Now, we got some fresh, new carpet. Black, fresh. We have to make it fit though. Before we can do that, we gotta take the interior apart, which means pretty much just remove the seats. So the dash is back in, the carpet's in. You know, the carpet, definitely cheap quality carpet and places, and it doesn't fit the best, mostly because This thing is not a factory B2200 anymore, but it works for now. And I did go back and use some of the scraps I had to mold around the wheel well and the battery mount, which made it look so much better. The thing that I love is just how the dash turned out. It looks so good. I'm very, very happy with that. But now we're gonna go ahead and start reassembling the exterior of the truck. We're gonna start with the doors, because that's the most important. It's the only thing I really need to drive it on the street. And here's an exciting thing. We're ditching the dented door and replacing it with a nice straight, albeit crusty, black door. I know you guys probably want to see the truck with, you know, all the same color body, with a nice wide body, all nice paint, but it's not gonna happen right now. And I think it's gonna look kind of sick, kind of rat rod, with all these different colored body panels. I think it'll be cool for now. But real quick, before we do the hood or the bed or anything else, we're gonna get it on the lift and fix some leaks. It's got a power steering leak. Then we're also going to finish the hydro plumbing, and then we can put the bed on, because we need to take the X brace off to put the bed on. Nice, just mess the paint up a little bit. I feel like it's, did it clear? Weight reduction. Very nice. So the truck is put back together with its stock body. It looks so funky from the front with that much wheel poke. A lot of people who don't know anything about drift cars don't realize that that is actually supposed to be like that. The angle kit pushes the wheels out so that they've got more clearance to turn tighter. But yeah, we'll be fixing that eventually with a custom wide body. For now, it is not gonna be like that. It's just gonna be stock body. It's kind of cool. Like I said, it's got the vibes of like a junkyard truck with all the different parts and stuff. We just bled the brakes for the hydro. I got my stamped tailgate on. That's not just a vinyl, that's actually stamped into the tailgate. It isn't fully secured, so that's a little sketchy, but it is what it is. The only other thing I want to do is a bolt check and an alignment. Because if you guys remember, the last time we drove this thing, I tried to do a pull and the entire front end started shaking apart. Oh God. Something is loose. Yeah. Very scary, very sketchy. And I want to try to avoid that. So we're just going to do a bolt check and alignment. Hopefully that's good. So a couple things. I found some loose-ish bolts, but nothing that would explain the entire front end trying to fall apart. Also, the alignment was pretty much perfect, so that doesn't explain it either. I did notice that there was some pretty serious play in the steering rack, and that's kind of a common issue on angle kits like these because of the offset spacers that they use. It just fries the steering rack. But we'll see. I was able to tighten it a little bit. If it doesn't fix it, then I can at least move the tie rods so they're not having leverage on the steering rack, and that should be fine. It would just give us less angle, but that's fine for street driving. It honestly looks really sick with the clear, the white, and then the black and red. Kinda dope. Just gonna roll backwards. So unfortunately, the start button fried itself because it's just not designed to handle the amount of amperage. So I can hotwire it. Turn the fuel pump on and do this. Yeah, very nice. While swapping out to my temporary tag, I remembered. Forgot to wire in some license plate lights, so I'll have to add that later, but that's okay. Custom plate coming soon. Let's let this thing heat up and then we can go for a drive. Nice. I'm already remembering things. Okay, I don't have any rear view mirrors. That's all right. For now, we'll just do it without that. Open the back window. Oh, I missed doing that, that's for sure. Missed that. We're driving.
Yeah, very loud. I can hardly hear you. How's like the keypads? Is it super easy to turn everything?
Yeah. It will suck if I stall this thing because it's annoying to start again. So just don't stall it. Looks like coolant temp's all good. Oh yeah, listen to those really good 4-inch speakers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fucking banging. Turn the blinker off. Get into the right lane. Nice. It's a street truck. Now we're gonna see how it does with speed bumps. Easy does it. All the clanks and stuff.
Yeah.
Feels like true drift truck fashion. First test drive done. Now can we get back? Ignition. Take my hot wire.
Online?
Yeah, click the online button then. All right, now back to the shop. Put the mirrors on, then going home. Supercharged V8. Did she give me a thumbs up or?
No, she was like.
Visors are a thing I'm gonna want to add eventually. My gosh. Definitely is lean. Nope. Did come back there for a second. Death wobble. So it needs a few things for sure, as does any big build when you first get it running.
Alexa,
Made it. So the first test drive went pretty great. Also, I did go ahead and put on the flares just to make it a little bit less ugly. But yeah, it drove to Raleigh's perfectly fine, drove back, and we've got our nice new rear mirror. Hello. I ordered a new one, but you know, this is a good temporary solution. Unfortunately, our next test drive is gonna have to be going back to O'Reilly's because I put the rear mirror on and it fell off. I think I used too much of one part of the epoxy. And yeah, so we're gonna have to go back and get another thing of glue for this thing, but there were a few things I want to do before we drive it again. The tune is a little bit off. It's great when you're flooring it, but the like just driving around town, partial throttle, it's not very good. And that's just because it's only ever been on the dyno. It's only ever been full throttle or partial throttle, and we didn't take the time to tune all the cells on our own dyno. So I'm pretty confident in my ability to tune this thing myself, just kind of looking at data logs and either adding fuel or removing fuel where it needs. But the thing is that it's currently half 85, half 93, which would make it very difficult to tune because you have to change both maps then. So we're gonna drain this contaminated half and half fuel out of there, then put 93 in. We got our old mix out of there. We got our 93 in. Went ahead and checked it. It's at 7% ethanol, so that's perfect. We'll be able to tune that. Now, the other thing I wanted to change is the location for the temp sensor for this fan controller. Right now, the temp sensor is in the radiator. Problem about that is that it's quite far away from the engine. And so, for instance, when I got on the highway and I started, getting consistent load on the engine and warming it up, the radiator took too long to react and it kind of started overheating, that's what we want. We want it to react quickly. So we're going to put the sensor and replace it with our old AEM water temp sensor, which is just not doing anything. So we're gonna put it in there, and then we're gonna have to run wires all the way back to the controller. And then we're gonna have to re-change the settings, but that's okay. That should get us a nice, quickly reacting fan setup. Attempt to clean that out a little bit. Get some thread sealant, glob it on. Yeah, that's good. The kind of cool thing is that the sensor is 2 parts, so you can take the actual sensor out of the adapter and it's not gonna leak any water, and then I can kind of change the wiring on this. So the wiring is all ran. We put more coolant into the engine, and so that's ready to go. But one last thing. That thing is adding a heater. In order to add a engine coolant heater, I would have to redo a lot of stuff. Coolant lines, supercharger location, drill holes in the firewall, redo the battery mount, it's a lot. And so I found these little electrical heaters on Amazon. Pretty much just a little heating element and a tiny little fan. Now I tested it, it gets pretty warm and it puts off some heat. Is it gonna keep me warm in negative 10-degree weather if I was living in Chicago or something? No. But it just needs to get the cabin a little bit warmer than ambient and also defrost the windshield. So we're gonna have one pointing at my legs and then one pointing up at the windshield right above the driver's seat. Now the one that's going in the dash, I'm not gonna deal with that right now because the dash is in there. I don't wanna deal with that. The one that's pointing on my legs I can go ahead and do now because we can make the plate for that, finish it all up, powder coat it, make it look nice. Oh my goodness, it's perfect. It came out perfect. Ow, I just burnt myself though. So we got that last dash plate finished. We got the heater, the little heater installed and in there. And I'm actually impressed. This thing is throwing off 211 degree air. I think that 2 of those will absolutely be enough to at least defrost the window. And I think they will affect the cabin temperature by quite a bit. So I'm pretty happy with that. They are 15 amps each, so they do draw quite a lot of current, and that's maybe why you don't want to use these, but it works. I have 15 amps, well, 30 amps to spare. But now, can we do some tuning? So So it's idling and it's at operating temperature now. I have the fan set to pretty much when it's idling, it should keep 180 degrees-ish temp, which is perfect. And look, you can see the fans are barely spinning, so that's awesome. I also went ahead and raised the idle a bit because it was set pretty low and it was pretty stumbly and it wouldn't catch sometimes when you're coasting to a stop. So it would keep stalling and that was annoying. I'd rather have a slightly higher idle that's smoother than a lower idle that's not smooth. I think we can start driving this thing and tuning it. We're pretty much just gonna do a data log and then look at the data log and see where in the map it's missing fuel or has too much fuel and go from there. Here we go. I'm gonna drive to a destination with a data log going, and then I'll stop, look at the data log, change some things, do it again. Well, I didn't really end up doing much tuning. The Link actually has like a mixture map self-tune thing where you can drive it and then it will kind of relearn based on the target lambda tables. And I think that works pretty good. Enough where I'm safe to have some fun with this thing now. You can really hear the supercharger with the windows closed. Oopsies. Didn't mean to do that. Shucks, foot slipped. I swear every time I'm driving this thing, I'm driving into the sun at sunset / evening. What's up with that, huh? Oh, it's so good, it's so good. I gotta stop it. This thing is gonna get me in some trouble. But guys, that is going to be it for this drift truck video. That is the first time I just casually drove it on the street in over 2 years, and it was such an awesome moment. I'm so excited. I'm very happy with the way it's turning out. The interior, mwah, chef's kiss. We're gonna make a center console. We're going to redo the door panels. But besides that, interior is freaking awesome. The body, yeah, that's the next big step. The plan pretty much would be to do the front wide body. It's gonna be a custom wide body, probably gonna be doing a lot of metal fabrication to make it look good and make it work. And then once that's done, we gotta replace the steering rack because that steering rack is the cause of that death wobble and it's not going away. The steering rack, it's got so much play in it and it's actually the steering rack itself. And then once those two things are done, take it to the track, make sure everything's good. If it is, then we paint it. And then the truck's done. But no rush, I can now enjoy it. I can drive it on the street. It's gonna be my daily for the next couple of days while we're working on the Accord. And that's what's happening next. We're working on the Accord again. One last big makeover. Bumpers, paint, hood, some lighting stuff. It's gonna be awesome. 2025 is hopefully going to be a huge year for the channel. 1 million? Could we do that? Maybe, that'd be awesome, so sweet. If you do wanna support the channel and you wanna get the Drift Truck I Helped Build This t-shirt, this is your last chance to do that. If you're a Patreon member for 3 months in the proper tier, you'll get it for free, completely free. You can also get the sticker for completely free. Drift Truck's back, I'll see you next time.